All right.
All right.
Loved by many, hated by few, respected by all. Second to none, the Commission Radio Show, powered by Legal Standpoint with Michael Todd. Man, what's going
Wait,
on,
wait,
man?
wait, wait, man. How many times have we been through this?
What? What?
Powered by Michael Todd. Where my
Michael?
J, man?
I'm sorry.
Where my J?
Powered by. Let me do it again. The Commission Radio Show, loved by many, hated by few, respected by all. Second to none, and powered by Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd.
Thank you, thank
There
you.
you
All
go.
right, all right, all right, right.
There we go.
right.
We got that. We got that.
So what's going on, brother?
Well, nothing much. See, nothing much.
How you been doing, man?
Been doing all right.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Yeah, where you been today, man?
Well, just all over America, man. All over
I'm
America.
saying you're usually going from banquet to banquet, getting awards and
Yeah.
dedicating memorials and stuff. So what have you done today?
Well, this week we have done a lot of work in the community. We're handling some business over in Tarrant County.
Okay.
The Tarrant County situation in which voter suppression is being dealt with there. And we've also interviewed some folks here in Haltom City, and we've been in Ellis County. And
Oh,
we're
really?
going back to Weatherford, which is in Parker County, and voter registration out there. September the 12th, I believe that I'll be in Parker County.
Now
doing my
you know
thing.
what? You know what's I have always thought about having voter registration cards at my office for people who come in to be able to register. And I actually went down to the government center this past week and got a bunch of cards, and I've got them there at the office for individuals. Because a lot of times people come to the office, dealing with criminal issues,
Mhm.
and they believe that they can't vote, or if they've had criminal issues in the past. And we know that that's not the case, that if you're not on paper, then you can vote. And when I say paper, if you're not on parole, if you're not on supervised release in the Fed system, or you're not on straight probation in state court, then you can vote, no matter what your record is. Now, if it's a situation where you're on deferred adjudication probation for a felony, misdemeanor, or whatever, you can still vote, because deferred adjudication is not a disqualifying status with respect to voting registration. So I'm glad to hear you doing that. And I'm doing it from the office and making sure that, we fill those cards out, take them out, and drop them into the mail.
We got to get the vote out.
Got to get it. Because you know why? Because we got to fight, man. We got to fight at the ballot box. We got to fight in courts. We've got to fight, everywhere we can, because we've had, one thing that we've seen over the last couple of weeks since our last episode, we've seen that we have a new attorney general in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And the attorney general, for those of you who don't know, that is a cabinet position, who is an individual that heads the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is the legal team for the United States. They represent the United States in civil actions. They represent the United States in criminal proceedings. They represent the United States before the Supreme Court. And of course, they would represent the United States as it relates to any international tribunals. So it's a very, very important position. Last administration, Merrick Garland was the attorney general.
Correct.
And he talked about often how the Department of Justice actually grew out of the need after Reconstruction to protect the rights of the freed slaves. And that was the main reason of why the Department of Justice came to fruition. And of course, it's expanded to other things now. But, it's a little troubling right now, though.
Very much so.
A little troubling because, now that we've got this guy in here, 47. Is it 47? Is that
47.
his number? Yeah, that's his number. Yeah.
You don't want to call him by name.
Yeah. If I call his name too much, he might appear, man. It'd be like Jason. Say his name 3 times, he'll appear. Oh, man, he's here.
Yeah, well, I've always thought that was his last name, Trump.
What do you mean?
Well, that's the way I always refer to him. I always like Trump, I always call him by his whole name. That, and then there's another word I say, and then
Oh,
I say
really?
Trump. That's what I say.
All right. Well, but the thing is this: the Department of Justice is supposed to be non-political. It's supposed to be, if you get prosecuted for a criminal case or if some investigation starts against you, it's supposed to be based on the facts and the merits, the law as it relates to that. And since 47 has been in office, it's taken on a whole new gambit. Uh, there was always a separation between the White House and the Department of Justice,
Correct.
where you didn't want the political calculation coming into play with decisions as it relates to prosecution. But we're seeing now that's different. And how do we know that? Well, the first Attorney General in 47's administration was Pam Bondi.
Mm-hmm.
And during Pam Bondi's rule, of course, she had been the Attorney General for the state of Florida before. She became the Attorney General. And then we saw immediately that there were individuals that were so-called enemies of the president that began to have a laser focus on them as it relates to possible criminal prosecution. You've heard of James Comey.
Correct.
He was the previous FBI director. He was someone that Trump has had an affinity for. He just wanted to go after because of the Russia investigation during his first term. You had folks like Letitia James, who is the Attorney General of New York, who had filed numerous civil actions against Trump and his companies as it relates to appraisals and things of that nature, and have received a astronomical judgment against him. Court of Appeals vacated that, meaning they threw it out, but that is still being debated before the top court in New York. And so what happened? We had situations where Letitia James, all of a sudden, she had a third house or a second house, and all of a sudden the Trump administration tries to say that she lied on her mortgage application.
Now you see how silly that is. They going back on her mortgage application.
A mortgage application.
That's what they get though, on a mortgage application.
Right. And basically what they were trying to say is that she applied as if it was going to be a primary residence when it was supposed to be an investment residence.
Yeah, homestead exemption.
Yeah. And as a result of that, she got a more favorable interest rate than if it had been an investment property or a second home. They say the calculation, it was the difference in the interest would have been like $600 or something. It was minor, but they tried to indict her over that. Actually, they did indict her, at the first time. And then what happened is that they said that the prosecutor who had indicted her was not appropriately appointed, and the case got thrown out. That's the same thing with James Comey. They had indicted him at the same time. So two of the people that Trump wanted, though so bad, Letitia James and James Comey, they indicted, but then both of those cases got thrown out.
And that was under Pam Bondi.
That was under Pam Bondi. Now, with Letitia James, they didn't stop with that. They said, well, hey, it got thrown out in the Northern District of Virginia. So they decided they were going to go to the Norfolk division down in Virginia and tried to indict her again after it had been thrown out once. And the grand jury said, hey, man, we're not going to indict you, which is, you've heard the phrase, you can indict a ham sandwich, right? So the fact that
Henry Wade,
the grand jury it was presented to the grand jury and they said no, it was kind of spellbound. But guess what?
What's that?
They didn't stop there. They then went to the grand jury in Alexandria, Virginia, and tried to indict her a third time.
They're going to find some place in Virginia.
Somebody. Somebody we going to get this woman indicted somewhere. But once again, they declined to indict her.
Now, what I see with that is that a lot of people, they come to our show and they hear what you're saying and hear what we're talking about. But the vast majority of the people in America don't know that.
Right.
He's losing there,
Right.
but they don't know because they got this myth that he's always winning.
Yeah. Well, because no matter if he wins or loses, he's gonna say he's winning.
Won.
Yeah. Even when he loses, he says he won. Right.
So 3 times. Well, what happened in Alexandria? What happened there?
Oh, they denied. They didn't indict her again. They no-billed her. That's what they call it, a no-bill.
So they didn't indict her again.
Right.
Letitia James' sister.
Right.
Woman.
Yeah, black woman. Actually, and you know what? She's an actual Howard Law grad. She was at Howard a couple of years after I was. So we were there in the building together. I didn't know her personally, but she's been doing
the vice
good.
president was there at the same time too, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, well, the vice president was at the undergrad.
Okay.
But we did graduate the same year. I graduated from the law school. She graduated from the undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah. I was at the National Bar Association convention last month, and actually Vice President Harris appeared and actually spoke there. Okay. And so she did a great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Howard Bison.
Yeah, somebody said, just this week, somebody called us the Howard Buffaloes. I had to straighten them out about the difference between a bison and a buffalo. They didn't know that, but they do now.
They do now.
I
will know after the show is over with.
But you know what? But the thing is this. So those were just 3 things we saw, right?
So 3 times he's lost.
3 times he's lost.
So
even more than 3 times with respect to Letitia James, 1 time with respect to Comey, right?
Right.
Now, wait a minute. Now let's get this though.
Okay.
At one point, James Comey said he came across, while he was walking on the beach, he came across some seashells that were formed to say 8647. You hear me?
Mm.
And he took a picture of the seashells that were formed to say 8687. And we're talking about weaponization again, all right?
Yeah.
Do you know that they indicted James Comey because he took a picture of that and put it on his Instagram, his social media? Said that he was making a threat to kill the president. Seashells on a beach.
They're really being very clever about this deal. Creative.
No, that's not creative. That's just down round dirty. Yeah, that's just dirty. And they've indicted him over that. They've indicted him over the fact of saying that the seashells are supposed to be a threat on the life of the president.
I don't buy that was a threat on the president. I don't buy that at all. But I sure the hell wouldn't have taken a picture of it and put it on Instagram.
You wouldn't have?
No. I would not have done that.
But if you just walked across it and you just saw it, and
he know what he's dealing with,
and it tripped him out.
He's FBI. He know what he's dealing with.
Well, but you know what? As an FBI director, he knows he didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, that's true. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. So I mean, what's the problem?
No, I'm not taking up for him. I'm just saying I would not have done that.
Okay. Well, so you're gonna let him stymie your First Amendment rights?
No, I wouldn't say any of that at all.
Okay.
I'm just saying, hey, when I got a Malcolm X quote, I'll just leave it alone. We'll talk about that after.
I got you.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
All right. Now, and remember, this is all in front of with Bondi that's going on, right? The last Comey thing that we talked about, that has been during the time period that Todd Blanche has been acting. He was the acting attorney general before his confirmation. But let's look at it. So, you would think, oh, man, that's a lot, man. That shows weaponization. No, man, we got more.
And they created that word weaponization.
Yeah. Because what they try to say is, and this is going to be the flip side, because we're talking about they're weaponizing the Department of Justice. They try to say, they being the MAGA folks, whatever you want to call them, they want to say, well, it was weaponized under Biden, right? By prosecuting the January 6 people.
They did something wrong.
Hey, I don't know about y'all.
Insurrection.
And wait a minute. I saw them turn up the Capitol.
And that's the part that gets me there. It's like the hypocrisy. We're all, as they say in The Godfather, we're all part of the same hypocrisy.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like, okay, come on now.
Right.
You saw what they did. It's just like the same thing about go back to Comey just briefly. Comey 86, 47. Okay, got that. Yeah, you know what? If he hadn't did what he did with Hillary Clinton, and
we would have won.
We would have won.
Right.
So you know.
Yeah. So I mean,
okay, that's what I was saying. Okay, you did that. You did that. I'm okay. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chickens come home to roost.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Because the thing he did, restarting that investigation 2 weeks before the election.
He threw the election.
Yeah, he really did. He really did, because she was up, and then she went down. Then she started to bounce back, but it wasn't enough.
Too late.
It was too late.
Yeah.
It was too late.
And then he taking cute little pictures and everything, and then it's like, oh, help me, please help me.
Right.
I ain't got nothing for you, man.
So how else have they tried to weaponize this? Back in February 2026, if you remember, there were 6 Congress people, including senators, Senator Mark Kelly. All of these people have been in the military before.
Right.
This is during the time period where 47 has the military blowing up boats in the ocean that they say are for drug dealers, but we never arrested anybody to see if they were dealing drugs or whatever.
No evidence.
No evidence.
You blew it up.
Yeah, they just blew it up, right? And if you remember, they had one where the guy survived and he was hanging on the boat, and they came back around and blew it up some more.
Yep.
and just to kill the guy.
Yep.
So the 6 Congress people, they came out and said, hey, if you're in the military, you don't have to follow illegal orders. Now, that is stated. They stated what is in the military handbook, in the military rules. And before you know it, they tried to indict those 6 individuals for sedition, saying that they were trying to foment insurrection against the United States. I mean, it was just crazy. How could you get to that point? Once again, the grand jury did what? It denied the indictment. It no-billed the case.
So the only hope, it seems like, is that we have lawyers such as yourself and judges that can go ahead and be right about this thing instead of being political hacks.
Well, yeah, I mean that's true, but the thing is that when you look at it, you think that the system is holding, right?
I don't know.
But what you need to understand is that the system is being attacked constantly every day. Every day. This man will not give up. He lost at the Supreme Court on birthright citizenship and has issued new executive orders about what? Birthright citizenship.
They told him to take his name off of the Kennedy Center.
And he's putting it back on.
Back on there.
Right.
Did it yesterday.
They told him that what? That the tariffs were illegal. And now he's come up with a new way trying to do the tariffs.
Yeah.
You know?
They told him not to build the Trump theater, if you will, whatever he calls that.
Right.
And he says, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. I'm too far along in it to stop now.
To stop now. You talking about the ballroom?
Yeah,
the ballroom. Yeah. He said it's 65% complete. I can't stop now.
I don't see nothing at the top.
Right. I don't either. For it to be 65% complete. Yeah, I haven't seen that either. But the thing is that he's not stopping at anything. He's lost at all levels as it relates to voting rights. But what has he done? He has now issued or filed a petition with the Supreme Court trying to get them to okay him to circumvent mail-in voting. And this is the thing on that. He has issued an executive order saying that, hey, look, the states have to give me a list of everybody who's supposed to be able to vote. We're going to go through Homeland Security and DOJ. We're going to look through the list and we're going to determine if these people are citizens or not. Now, they've done that because, Texas just gave them the list.
Because they have Governor Greg Abbott.
Yeah, they got Governor Greg Abbott, who seems like he's in a dogfight as it relates to some of the polls that I've seen. He's always won by a lot of points, 10, 12 points. But I've seen, polls where the Democrat, what's her name?
Gina
Hinojosa, she's within. I've seen it where she was down a point, maybe 3 points, this, that, and the other. So, we've got to make sure that we vote, we vote this coming election. But they gave the list. The Trump administration then gave back and said, these people are illegal, and they started looking through the list and they were like, well, no, these people have been naturalized and these people have been so-and-so and this person was born here. So the list isn't accurate. But what Trump is trying to do in his weaponization as it relates to the voting rights, what he's trying to do is he's issued this order. The order has been struck down. And so what he's trying to do is say that the people who attack that order don't have standing. Now, listen to me. Standing is a nebulous type term. It means that you are the person that's actually being affected by the rule or by the action that's being taken by the government. It's kind of like if somebody wrote a law that said, all black folks can't vote, right? And then somebody that was, Hispanic or somebody that was white tried to contest that. They might say, well, they don't have standing because it didn't affect them, right? That's a far-fetched example, but it kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about. So what he's hoping is that the Supreme Court rules that the people don't have standing. We're only 80-something days away from the election. So what he's hoping is that they say they don't have standing. So all of those actions to prohibit him from doing this are gone. And then he's able to do it in such a time frame that you won't even have enough time to be able to effectively contest it again. You follow me?
I follow you.
I mean, it's a real quagmire as it relates to what's going on. But we've seen all kinds of stuff, man. We went through stuff. You remember Jerome Powell wouldn't lower the interest rates. He started investigating him. So talking about indictment, right? He wanted to investigate the governor of Minnesota because they wouldn't play ball with him with information, right? Lisa, the one black Federal Reserve governor that we have, he wants to put his own people in, and she's committed mortgage fraud too. Mortgage fraud. Went all the way. They ruled in her favor. And now what is he trying to do?
Trying to remove her.
He's still trying to remove her again.
He's a very persistent.
He's very, very persistent. Southern Poverty Law Center. Around and focusing on folks that are fulminating hate. They have now indicted the Southern Senate because they were trained into hate groups. And they were not advising the contributors of what they were doing. All of this, right? Weaponization. About that first his criminal cases for when we had the Hush trial that was in New York.
That was him.
That was him. He represented Donald Trump. He was defending Donald Trump. He lost. That's why Donald Trump now has 34 felony convictions, out of that case, right? But he was representing him there. He also did what? He was representing him as it relates to all the federal case that dealt with the insurrection. and also the federal case that dealt with the hidden documents, the classified documents that he was trying to
So
hide.
this is his personal lawyer.
This is his personal lawyer, who has now been.
So if he was speeding, he would be representing him on speeding tickets as well.
Right. That this guy.
So that was his general in his home state or anything?
No, nothing like that. But I can say this: he had a stint in the U.S. attorney, the federal system before, so you can say that, right? It's my understanding he was a pretty prominent defense attorney, so you can give him that. So I'm not going to say just because he hadn't been attorney general or district attorney somewhere that was.
So he is qualified.
Yeah. I mean, he's attorney. Yeah, I mean, I think this may be the biggest organization that he's ever been over.
It's not like your brother's like president of the United States and he appoints you to be president, attorney general, anything like that.
Right. No, it's not like Robert Kennedy.
Yeah. Okay, see.
Yeah. So maybe, but the main thing is that he's Donald Trump's boy.
Yep.
that's
the other thing. He's Donald Trump's boy.
That's the main.
Robert Kennedy was a hell of a better person, attorney general than Todd Blanchard.
Yeah. And so as he was the acting attorney general. Now check this out, folks, because this is important. Because I know, a lot of times you just hear these little snippets on the news and, you just hear something, but maybe you just don't clearly understand what's going on. We just talked about how Donald Trump feels that during the time period of his first administration that James Comey was prosecuting him or persecuting him. We just heard that he thought that he was wrongly being charged for hiding the classified documents, for causing the insurrection and all of those things. So what Donald Trump did is that he filed a lawsuit against the federal government saying that he had been wrongly persecuted. Then he became president again. So now he has a lawsuit on one side and he has the attorney general or acting attorney general who is his boy that has represented him before, that's now representing the United States. And that's how they entered into that whole agreement as a settlement, not going to trial. It's not like the U.S. government was contesting what Donald Trump was saying, but they entered into a settlement where he would have a 1.8, let me get the numbers right. It's actually $1,776,000,000.
Yeah, you got to get them numbers right. When you talk about 1 billion, we ain't talking about $50.
Right.
1 billion.
Well, everybody's been rounding it up to 1.8 billion, but it was really 1,776,000,000 because that was 1776. You follow me?
Yeah, branding again.
Yeah, branding.
So I just pull a number out.
Yeah. We just trying to be trying to be patriotic.
Yeah, 1776.
Right. And so he enters into this agreement, and then he also adds on a deal where, and on top of that, the United States can't audit me for my taxes ever again, or any of my people. Now look at this.
Any of his people? Does that mean his kids?
His kids. And there was some issue as it relates to anybody that was affiliated with him or one of his companies. Yeah. Now, they're trying to say that that's not how right. Ultimate hookup. You know what? Hey, you come over here and do business with me. Right? Or one of my subsidiaries, and you never have to worry about tax again.
Worry about that.
You follow?
Don't worry about it.
Every company in the world after he leaves, trying to have him to, of no audits, no reviews, no nothing. You follow me? And so, but just imagine this, folks. You with Michael Todd decided he was going to do a settlement with an organization that Michael Todd controls.
Michael J. Todd.
Michael J. Todd. And I'm going to enter into this agreement that in the entity is going to pay me 1.7 billion available to me. Come on, man. What is going on here? Now, it was a lot of uproar about this, right?
What ended up happening with them?
Well, the thing is this. When they first started this and the uproar came out, Republicans, everybody kind of, blew back on it and said, oh, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do that, man. The weaponization, right? But then Blanche came up for confirmation 10 days ago. And so there were a couple of senators, John Cornyn being one of them from Texas, Tom Tillis from North, but we ain't going to write in days. They got to put something in writing. They being the Trump administration. But folks, what they put in writing, I mean, it's really, I think it's worthless, actually, because basically what he just said is that, hey, we're not going to set up the weaponization fund, and we hadn't set it up, and we're not going to set it up, and I'm telling you, under an administrative order that we're not going to do this. That's fine, right? But remember what I just told you. There was an agreement between the Trump family and the U.S. government that was signed off on by Todd Blanche, representing the government, and Donald Trump representing himself, right, and his family. That agreement said that they were going to have this fund. This agreement said that he was going to have what? The immunity from audits. The agreement also said that it could only be modified by execution by each party. So if we're going to change it, we're going to modify it, Trump has to sign off on it, and the United States sign off on it through Todd Blanche. I just told you Todd Blanche signed something and said, we're not doing it, right? But he did Donald Trump to sign off on it. If Donald Trump didn't sign off on it, then there's no modification of the original agreement.
We, meaning the American people, have messed up.
Yeah. And I know this is the case because days after he was confirmed, they asked him about that again, about the weaponization fund. And his response, and I'm going to quote it. He said that the fund was dead. He say that the idea. Specifically, he said the president, as do I, that there were absolutely, but it will not be a weaponization fund, Blanche said, right? So he said, right? He didn't say we ain't gonna cool them. He just said we ain't.
They can change the name of it.
They can change the name of it, I mean, it's kind of like what? We're making a cash payment, we're gonna do a tax abatement for you, right? Or rather than doing a tax abatement, we're gonna just say that you got a tax exemption. I mean, the bottom line is I get money, for all those sports fans. Rather than giving him a signing bonus, they're gonna give him a roster bonus, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still the same thing. It's money. So the whole thing with respect to Todd Blanche is just We've got a personal lawyer, Donald Trump, now that is there. So maybe, I didn't really like Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi, that's the reason
What he wanted.
Right. And she also fell within files too.
Oh, yeah. The Epstein file. Yeah, because you know what? He don't want to talk about,
about that.
Before the election.
It got even in the room. 2 people in the room.
I know. He don't want to talk about the Epstein files, man. But he was like, we gonna release these. And what? But hey,
and she messed up as well because she said at desk.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah. She did. So the thing is you say, hey, look, right? But if you know the MAGA people, like I said, they don't say, well, Biden and them, they did all. They point to and they say, well, Biden had classified information and they didn't indict him, but Donald Trump had classified information and they indicted him.
And turn herself in.
Yeah, but that's the difference. It was a fact when Biden discovered that he had classified information. He said, I got some. Y'all check it out. You can search every crib that I have, every property that I have. I'm going to be what? Open and transparent, right? With Trump and him letter saying you got these things, give them back. He was like, no, I'm not. And the thing is, I know we talked about this before, maybe a year and a half ago. But the thing is that when the people from DOJ were coming down to look stuff,
he would move it.
He would move the stuff.
Move it to the bathroom.
Right. So it was in one storage facility, another building.
And then when they come back,
filed the action against him on January 6th. He instigated the whole thing.
Yeah.
He instigated the whole thing.
Him and that other guy from Texas. What's his name? Let's see. Ken Paxton.
Yeah. That guy, the guy that's running to be senator now.
Yeah, that we shouldn't vote for as well.
Wait a minute, the guy that he endorsed.
Yeah.
His boy, the guy that filed the lawsuit from Texas to invalidate the votes of 4 other states.
Yep.
That he had no connection to. Right.
Nothing to do with.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
He's the Attorney General of Texas and apparently Attorney General of 4 other states.
4 other states, right. Yeah. He was. So I mean,
guy.
Just weaponization all around. Just weaponization all around. So so when people try to say, well, they didn't do it, to Biden, but you got to go back and look at the actions that they were trying to address. They being the Biden administration. So, I don't think the whole thing that the Biden administration weaponized everything against Trump. It was just Trump has just been a criminal acting type person.
What else is new?
That is true. That is true. But you know what? Everything that we've talked about so far, right? Everything that we've talked about so far has been about people that were actually, pressing to hold Trump accountable for his actions.
Mm-hmm.
James Comey, Letitia James, the Congress people, right?
Telling them no.
Yeah, telling him no, right? And so people like ourselves or to the listeners, they may think, oh man, well, I don't have to worry about that, man, because I'm not saying anything against the man. He's not going to bother me. Well, we know that's not the case. And how do we know that's not the case? Because we talking about the reflecting pool, right? Weaponization all the way. What happened with the reflecting pool? Trump decides he's going to do what? He wants to change the reflecting pool. The reflecting pool, for those who haven't been in DC, There's a large body of water that's right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. It's an iconic place, where they've had marches, protests, where King did the I Have a Dream speech, everything, right? So he says he's going to get this reflecting pool. It's had problems in the past with leakage, with algae, just all types of stuff. So he says, hey, man, one of my boys, I'm gonna give him a no bid contract.
And hey, counselor, his boy was also the person who did his swimming pool.
Correct.
At Mar-a-Lago.
At Mar-a-Lago. So he comes up and says it's only going to cost us $1.8 million, and he's going to straighten it out.
And no bid contract.
No bid contract.
Nobody else could bid on it.
Now, that $1.8 million deal then turned into a $13.8 million job, right? And so he being Trump, was rushing to try to get this thing done before July 1st. Before July 1st, about 10 days, it's supposed to be done. They pump all the water back in there, man. And they look up and they like, dang, the water turning green again. And it's got all this algae in it, right? And of course, the media is on him about, hey, look, you said you were going to fix the reflecting pool, and the reflecting pool is green again. And so he's like dumping gallons and barrels of hydrogen peroxide in there and all types of stuff, and is not getting clear, is not cleaning up. And so what happens next? Oh, somebody's vandalized it. Somebody has broken, has cut the liner. And people who just happen to be going down there to look at it, right, who may have stuck their hand in the water just to see, to feel the stuff.
Nosy,
yeah, just being nosy, the kind of stuff people would do, right? They ended up being charged with vandalism as a felony offense. And he was able to then go crow about how this was the act of vandalism that's caused this to, cause the reflecting pool to malfunction again.
And said they cut it.
350 feet.
That means he's in the water 350
right.
feet. That's a long way to be in the water.
Dude, 300
water too.
350 feet water. Is more than 100 yards. That is a football field and 30 yards. Now, who's going to be out there cutting something the length of a football field and nobody saw them while they were doing it? Algae. But he needed what? He needed a scapegoat. And so those people, and remember, Miss what was her name? The U.S. attorney out of DC, Janine Pirro.
Right.
She used to be Judge. Was it Judge Judy or something?
And she had a show like Judge.
Yeah, she had a show. And so she comes out and she says these people are vandals, and they're gonna prosecute these folks, and they're gonna put them in the penitentiary, and all of this stuff. And it turns out that prior to any of the arrest, that a National Park Service engineer had emailed a warning.
Wow.
Right? That strips of the new lining were vulnerable and prone to peeling. And the areas that were identified are the same areas at issue in the criminal case. They knew that. The U.S. government knew that before they arrested anybody. And they still arrested these people and had them charged with vandalism. Now, I ain't talking about somebody that got plenty of money, right? Or some big wig. We talking about regular folks who just rode his bicycle down to the reflecting pool and reached in to just kind of see how the rubber felt. And then they said that this man was what? Vandalized. It was going to be a felon. Think about that, folks. Think about that. They will weaponize the Department of Justice against anyone. And so we have to be mindful of that. And how are we going to do that? Do what we talked about when we first started out. We got to register to vote, because we have to put some checks and balances some checks and balances on this administration this coming November. This is a very important election. So, hey, you continue doing your voter registration. I'm going to continue doing it. And we've got weaponization everywhere. Hey, don't go anywhere and put your hand in the pool, because you might end up with what? You might end up with a case. But if you do end up with one, give me a call.
What's that number?
I'll be able to get you out of it.
All right.
All right, Legal Standpoint. We appreciate you.
All right. See you guys next month. Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd.
All right.
All right.
Hey, appreciate everybody on Facebook there. Thank you.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Hey, how you doing? This is Ed Gray of the Commish Radio Show. Stay tuned and tune in and be to speed on justice, human on the Commish Radio every second.